This Baltimore Ravens team has shown that they can score through the air and dominate on the ground. The Ravens are averaging 209 passing yards and 220 rushing yards per game, making them one of the most difficult opponents to prepare for and defend against. The biggest question mark for this team going into the season was if this offensive line could pass protect for Lamar and block for the run. The beginning of the season proved that these were worthy concerns, and struggling to do either threatened to throw the validity of this Ravens Super Bowl run into doubt. However, after an 0-2 start, the Ravens have rebounded through effort and dynamic playmaking on both sides of the ball. Improvements made by players and coaches have strengthened areas of weakness, making this team once again a threat to any opponent they face. Bringing their record back to 500 with their first divisional opponent on the horizon, the Ravens will need to continue to hone and build on one of the most powerful weapons at their disposal: their offensive misdirection. Let's get to it. Welcome in, everyone. This is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report, and today we're going to go over an ability that this Ravens offense has, which makes them one of the best in the NFL. As we know, the Ravens are a team that likes to establish the run early and often in games. Starting a Ravens offensive drive with a 1st and 10 run play is on the same level of predictability as the sun rising. This was true in weeks 1 through 3, and in week 4 with devastating effect. But what the Ravens offense has also established is that they aren't afraid to air the ball out and take advantage of an opponent's tendencies. Looking right back at week 4, and specifically the start of the Ravens' second offensive drive, the Ravens faked the handoff to Derrick Henry and completed a short screen pass to Zay Flowers, who took it 10 yards for a first down. Now, obviously, going from a Derrick Henry run to a Zay Flowers pass isn't groundbreaking and is certainly a sequence opposing defenses will be prepared for. But what the Ravens and offensive coordinator Todd Monken have at their disposal is something this Ravens organization has flirted with in the past, but never really been able to fully capitalize on: an offense with a very talented running back and a group of very capable, unselfish pass catchers. The Ravens may not have a true number one wide receiver, but that can also be an offensive asset if implemented the right way. Let's take a look at two other AFC teams which operate in a somewhat similar fashion: the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Both have solid workhorse running backs in James Cook for the Bills and Isaiah Pacheco, when healthy, for the Chiefs. Both have a solid tight end group as well as multiple receivers that can be called upon at any down or distance. Even from a quarterback mobility standpoint, there are some similarities. Obviously, the threat of Lamar Jackson as a ball carrier is much higher than Mahomes or even Allen, but they are still mobile quarterbacks who can punish teams when scrambling with the ball. I believe in sports and in life, the idea of multiple things being true and contributing to an outcome at the same time is more common than people want to give it credit for. In sports, many things are displayed to us as black or white. Lamar Jackson didn't do enough to win this game, or that penalty call cost us the game. While these statements can be true in and of themselves, they are hardly ever the sole reason for whatever outcome occurred. The main reason I bring this up is because Ravens fans will be very used to the idea that Lamar Jackson somehow controls the entire fate of the Ravens team on both offense and defense by himself if you listen to the national media. We as a fan base, however, know that the outcome of any game is a result of multiple pieces performing and working well together or failing together. The title of this video isn't meant to be overly dramatic, but instead very factual in what the Ravens have as an offense. If you go look at the box score for the game against the Bills, you might think that all the Ravens' success came from Derrick Henry running the ball. Obviously, it is true that he was extremely successful running the ball, but for those of you that watched the game, and especially the last two Ravens possessions, when it was obvious that Henry was going to run the ball, we didn't do nearly as well. We saw this quite often in weeks 1 and 2 against the Chiefs and the Raiders. Now, Derrick Henry is, of course, one of the most talented running backs in the league, if not the most talented, but the most important reason he had such an incredible performance is due to the diversity of play calls and unpredictability of which Raven would be getting the ball. Going back to box scores for a second, if you didn't know otherwise, Week 4 versus the Bills doesn't look all that different from the one that we had in Week 3 against the Cowboys. The key difference was the play calling diversity and when the players got touches. Lamar only targeted a player not named Henry or Hill 9 times for 5 receptions, but each of those receivers had a play of 10-plus yards, with Likely and Bateman both having 20-plus yard plays. The way that Justice Hill was used in this game is the perfect example of what well-timed play calling can do for the Ravens. As I said in my post-game livestream, the mixing of Hill and Henry's run plays with their receiving plays was the best that we've seen from this Ravens team, both from a balance standpoint as well as a timing one. I expect the Ravens coaching staff to improve continuously throughout the season by using our own offensive tendencies against our opponents, giving them what they expect early and flipping it on them at the right moment later in the game. If the defense can't tell what we're going to do based on personnel and formation, then they'll have to take a more conservative approach with their own. This in turn will amplify the effect Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry have on a defense with both the read option and play action. This Ravens team has a wide receiver and tight end who can go over 100 yards in any game, and both a quarterback and running back who can run the ball well over 100 yards in any game, without including other talented players like Mark Andrews, Justice Hill, Rashad Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar. With Lamar achieving a passer rating of 135 or higher over the past 2 games and completing over 70% of his passes as well, this offense seems to be finding its groove as we enter the second quarter of the NFL season, and I can't wait to see the improvements continue each week. If you enjoy this video and my thoughts on why this Ravens offense can be one of the most dangerous in the NFL, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. And if you have your own thoughts you want to share about this Ravens offense, put them down in the comment section below. As always, guys, stay safe out there and go Ravens.